Hey guys, let's face it, most people are packing the wrong survival gear, not because they're dumb, but because they've been sold the wrong idea. They think survival means buying whatever looks tactical or sounds cool, but when a real crisis hits, when the lights are out, the gas is gone, and the stores are empty, flashy gear won't save you. The right tools will. This isn't about prepping like it's a movie. This is about staying warm when it's freezing, cooking when there's no gas, charging when the power's dead, communicating when your phone's useless. That's real survival, and it starts with the right stuff. In this video, we're breaking down 9 simple, useful products that actually keep you alive when everything else shuts down. No fluff, no gimmicks, just real gear that works when it matters most. And if you think you're already prepared, think again, because most people miss at least one of these. Hit subscribe if you're serious about real prepping, not just collecting gear for show. We break down what actually works every single week. Number 1, Headlamp, LED, rechargeable. You might have a flashlight in your emergency kit, maybe even 2, but if you're not packing a headlamp, you're missing one of the most useful survival tools out there, and it's not even close. When the power goes out and you're stuck in total darkness, you need your hands. Hands for cooking, packing, fixing things, carrying gear, opening cans, climbing stairs, whatever the situation demands. A headlamp gives you light without using your hands. You strap it on, turn it on, and you're good to go. Now let's talk about practicality. A headlamp lights up exactly where you're looking, not the floor, not your feet, right in front of your eyes. That means you can see what you're working on, whether it's a stuck door, a leaking pipe, or a broken lock. Try doing that with a flashlight tucked under your chin or jammed in your armpit. You'll drop it, every time. Rechargeable LED headlamps are the way to go. They weigh nothing, last for hours, and plug into any USB power bank or solar panel. No batteries to fumble with in the dark. Just light when and where you need it. Make sure the model you buy has multiple brightness settings and a red light mode for night use. The red light saves your night vision and uses less power, perfect for long-term situations. If you're still relying on flashlights or candles, you're stuck in the past. A headlamp is how you move, work, and survive when the world goes dark. Number 2, heavy-duty work gloves. Most people don't think about gloves until it's too late, but in a real crisis, your hands are going to take a beating. Whether you're clearing broken glass, collecting firewood, lifting debris, or just moving through rough terrain, bare hands won't last long. And that's exactly why you need a pair of heavy-duty work gloves in your survival gear. It's not about comfort, it's about survival. One deep cut on your palm, one infected splinter, one busted knuckle, and now you can't grip anything. You can't carry your bag. You can't swing an axe. You can't even cook properly. Your hands are everything. And in a world where there's no ER, no antibiotics on demand, and no stitches unless you do it yourself, protecting them isn't optional, it's essential. Forget the thin garden gloves or those dollar store throwaways. You need something real thick leather palms, reinforced stitching, and snug wrist cuffs that keep out dirt and glass. Look for gloves that construction workers use. That's the level of durability you want, because that's the kind of work you'll be doing when the grid goes down. And here's the other thing, gloves don't just protect against cuts. They guard against burns from cooking stoves, rope friction when hauling gear, and even frostbite if you're exposed in cold weather. One solid pair can handle tasks that would tear your bare hands apart in seconds. Keep them in your go bag. Keep a backup pair at home. Break them in now so you're not dealing with stiff leather when it counts. In an emergency, your hands are your most important tool. And just like any tool, if you don't protect them, you won't be able to use them. Don't wait until you're bleeding to realize gloves weren't just optional. They were mission critical. Number 3, manual water pump for buckets or jugs. When a crisis hits, most people focus on storing water, and that's smart. You need water to drink, cook, clean, and stay alive. But here's the mistake almost everyone makes. They store their water in large 5-gallon jugs, then forget one simple thing: how are you going to get the water out? Lifting and pouring a full 5-gallon jug sounds easy until you actually try it. That's 40 pounds of weight. If you're in a blackout, in low light, or trying not to spill water all over your floor, good luck. And if you're injured, older, or helping someone else who is, forget it. That jug becomes a liability. That's why a manual water pump is one of the smartest survival tools you can add to your setup. It's cheap, small, and installs directly onto most standard water jugs. One press, and clean water comes out. No lifting, no spilling, no contamination. It turns a heavy water jug into an instant countertop dispenser. In a crisis, where every drop of clean water matters, this kind of control becomes critical. Whether you're filling a cooking pot, rinsing off a cut, or just trying to make sure kids get water safely, a manual pump makes it simple. Even better, most pumps are gravity-free, meaning you don't have to tilt the jug. You can leave the jug upright in a corner or under a table and just press to dispense. And unlike electric pumps, these work with no batteries, no power, and no failure risk. It's one of those products you never think about until you realize how annoying and risky it is to lift a 40-pound jug 5 times a day, especially when you're tired, weak, or dealing with other stress. You've already done the smart part by storing water. Now finish the job. Add a simple manual pump and turn those jugs into something actually usable when using your strength is the last thing you want to waste. Number 4. Duct tape, heavy grade. There's one item that belongs in every emergency kit, every bug-out bag, every glove compartment, and it's not high-tech, expensive, or flashy. It's duct tape. And not the cheap kind you get at the dollar store. We're talking heavy-grade, industrial-strength duct tape that actually holds when things break. In a real crisis, things don't go smoothly. Your tarp rips, your shoes blow out, a pipe bursts, a window cracks, your gear starts to wear down under pressure. You can't just order replacements or run to the store. That's when duct tape stops being handy and becomes essential. This stuff fixes everything. You can seal off broken windows to keep out cold air or rain, patch leaks in buckets or water containers, reinforce handles on buckets or tools, even use it to close wounds temporarily if you're out of first aid tape. Just sterilize underneath first. It can hold a shelter together, waterproof your boots, or wrap around your flashlight for grip and waterproofing. And don't forget its ability to make tools. In survival situations, people have used duct tape to build slings, wrap knife handles, splint broken fingers, and even make temporary shoes. It's not just for repairs, it's for survival improvisation. But here's the key, not all duct tape is the same. The kind sold in multicolor craft aisles is useless in a real emergency. What you want is heavy-duty tape rated for high heat, water resistance, and strong adhesion. Look for brands like Gorilla Tape, T-Rex, or 3M contractor grade, the kind made for construction sites, not school projects. Also, store it right. Keep one full roll in your go bag and wrap a few feet around other gear like your water bottle or flashlight to save space, and always have it on hand. Duct tape is one of those tools that does the job of 20. It doesn't look like much, but when something breaks and something always breaks, it's the one thing you'll wish you packed more of. Skip the gimmicks. Pack the gear that actually solves problems. Duct tape makes the list every time. Number 5. N95 or KN95 masks. Most people only started thinking about masks during COVID, but in a real crisis, whether it's a natural disaster, chemical spill, wildfire, or outbreak, a proper mask can literally mean the difference between staying healthy and ending up in serious trouble. And no, we're not talking about those thin cloth masks or the cheap blue surgical ones. We're talking about N95 and KN95 respirators masks that actually filter out what matters. These masks don't just stop spit or coughs. They filter airborne particles, including smoke, dust, mold, bacteria, and even viruses. If you're evacuating during a wildfire, digging through rubble after a storm, or dealing with sick family members in a lockdown, you need something that protects your lungs. Breathing in toxic air, mold spores, or fine debris won't kill you on day one, but it can lead to infections, asthma attacks, or worse within days. Most people overlook this completely. They pack food, water, batteries, but forget their lungs are exposed 24/7. And once smoke or debris gets into your system, it's hard to undo that damage without medicine or hospitals, which might not be available. N95s are certified to block at least 95% of airborne particles. KN95s follow a similar standard, but are more widely available and sometimes more affordable. They seal tighter around your face and provide a way better barrier than regular masks. You'll want a few in every emergency bag at home, in the car, and in your bug-out kit, and don't wait until there's a shortage. These were almost impossible to find in the early days of COVID and during major wildfires. When everyone starts panic buying, they're gone fast. Also, store them properly. Keep them sealed in a dry bag so they stay clean and functional, and rotate your stock every couple of years even if unused. The elastic straps can weaken over time. In survival, it's not just what you eat or drink, it's what you breathe. Protect your lungs the same way you protect your food, your water, and your shelter. Because once the air turns against you, it's already too late to grab a mask. Number 6. Large tarp with grommets. If there's one item that's constantly underestimated in emergency kits, it's the humble tarp. It looks simple, just a sheet of plastic or nylon, but in a survival situation, a good tarp becomes one of the most useful, multi-purpose tools you'll ever carry. And the best part? It takes up almost no space. A large tarp with grommets, reinforced holes along the edges, can be used for shelter, ground cover, rain catchment, wind blocking, shade, insulation, and even as a stretcher if things get serious. It doesn't need power, it doesn't expire, and it doesn't break down like gear with moving parts. Let's talk about shelter first. If your tent rips, your roof leaks, or you're stuck outside, a tarp can be pitched using rope, bungee cords, or even duct tape to create a fast, waterproof shelter. In heavy rain, it keeps you dry. In brutal sun, it gives you shade. And in high winds, it creates a physical barrier to keep your space manageable. On the ground, a tarp protects your sleeping bag or gear from moisture. Under your food stash, it keeps things dry. Over your firewood, it keeps your heat source usable. Folded and tied, it can even wrap and carry gear or injured people. Don't go for the ultralight, thin plastic sheets. You want something durable, ripstop nylon or heavy polyethylene with strong grommets that won't tear the first time you pull it tight. Size matters too. A 6x8 might work for personal use, but go with 10x12 or larger if you're packing for a family or planning outdoor use. And here's a bonus most people overlook. A brightly colored tarp can double as a signaling tool. Lay it flat in an open area to be seen by rescue aircraft. Or go for a camo version if you need concealment. One item, multiple uses, minimal weight. When it comes to gear that punches above its size, a tarp is top of the list. Pack one, always, because when the roof caves in, literally or figuratively, you'll want it ready. Number 7, manual coffee or seed grinder. Most people hear manual grinder and think it's just for coffee addicts. But in a real crisis, a good hand crank grinder becomes a whole lot more than a luxury. It becomes one of the few tools that lets you actually use long-term dry food. Grains, seeds, legumes, they're cheap, they last forever, and they pack real nutrition. But here's the problem. You can't eat them as is. Try chewing raw wheat, dried beans, or sunflower seeds straight from a storage bin. You won't get much nutrition, and worse, you'll wreck your teeth. That's why a manual grinder is such a smart prep item. It turns hard, dry food into usable ingredients, flour, meal, or powder that you can actually cook with. Let's say you've got a stockpile of rice and beans. That's great. But what happens when fuel is low and boiling food for an hour isn't an option? Grind them first. Ground beans cook faster. Ground oats make porridge with less fuel. Wheat berries become flour for flatbreads. Seeds can be crushed into paste for high-fat meals. The grinder unlocks the food, making it easier to digest, faster to cook, and more versatile. Electric grinders are useless without power, and food processors won't help you off-grid. A manual grinder works anywhere on a table, a rock, or your lap. No cords, no noise, just a crank and results. Look for metal or ceramic burr grinders, not plastic blades. You want adjustable settings, so you can choose fine or coarse depending on what you're making. Bonus points if the unit disassembles for cleaning because oily seeds can gum it up over time. And yes, it still makes excellent coffee. In a blackout, even one hot cup of coffee can feel like a morale boost. But that's not why it's on this list. It's here because it turns your long-term dry storage into actual food, not theory, not emergency rations, real meals. If you've invested in bulk rice, beans, or grains but haven't added a grinder, you've only done half the job. A simple hand grinder finishes the plan. Number 8. Zip ties, assorted sizes. Some of the most useful survival gear takes up no space at all, and zip ties are the perfect example. These little plastic strips might look like something you'd use to organize cables, but in an emergency, they become one of the most versatile tools you can carry. Light, strong, cheap, and fast zip ties get things done when you don't have time, tools, or options. Start with what they're made for. Fastening. Need to secure a tarp to a fence or tree? Zip tie it. Your tent pole snaps? Splint it with a stick and a few zip ties. Backpack strap rips? Zip. Tie it back together. They can hold broken gear, fix a shoe, tie up loose ends, literally. And because they lock instantly, you don't need knots or tools. Pull, click, done. But that's just the beginning. You can use zip ties to hang solar lights, secure a flashlight to a stick for a makeshift torch, or bundle gear to make it easier to carry. Some preppers use them to hang water containers from trees, build drying racks, or even fasten emergency splints and bandages in place. And here's a tip most people overlook. Carry different sizes. Small ones are great for minor fixes or holding gear in place. Medium ones work for straps, tool repairs, and lashing. But the real power is in the long, heavy-duty ties 18 to 24 inches, which can hold serious weight and handle serious tension. Durability matters too. You don't want the brittle, sun-damaged stuff that snaps with one pull. Look for UV-resistant, high-tensile zip ties, the kind electricians and mechanics use. These won't dry out or fail when exposed to heat, cold, or time, and they'll hold tight even if they get wet. Throw a handful in your go bag. Wrap some around water bottles, tape rolls, or flashlights to save space. Keep a stash at home, in the car, and in your toolbox. You won't use them every day, but when something breaks or needs securing fast, nothing beats the speed and strength of a good zip tie. In survival, it's not always about the big gear. Sometimes it's the small stuff that saves the day. Number 9. Non-contact infrared thermometer. When people think of survival, they think of food, water, and flashlights, but they rarely think about fever. And that's a problem. Because in any real crisis, whether it's a natural disaster, power outage, or long-term emergency, somebody's going to get sick. And when that happens, you need to know one thing fast. Do they have a fever or not? That's where a non-contact infrared thermometer becomes one of the most underrated tools you can own. Unlike traditional thermometers, infrared models let you check someone's temperature without touching them. Just aim at the forehead, press a button, and in 1 second you've got a reading. No mouth contact. No cleaning in between. No spreading germs. That's a huge advantage when you're dealing with family members, small children, or multiple people, especially in a situation where illness is spreading. Infection control becomes critical when there's no hospital to run to, no easy access to antibiotics, and no doctor on call. A simple fever can spiral into something far worse if you don't catch it early. And guess what? If you're relying on old-school glass thermometers, you'll be fumbling in the dark, guessing at symptoms, and hoping for the best. Non-contact thermometers are also great for monitoring food and water safety. Some models can measure surface temps of boiling water, stoves, or even cold storage coolers. That kind of multi-use functionality matters when you're managing supplies and keeping everyone fed safely. You'll want a battery-powered model with a clear digital display, fast response time, and memory recall, so you can track if someone's fever is going up or down. Keep extra batteries with it and store it in a clean, sealed pouch. These things don't take up space, they just give you answers when you need them most. We don't talk enough about medical preparedness, but it's part of survival. And something as simple as knowing if someone has a fever can change how you respond. Do they need rest, quarantine, fluids, medication, or are they fine? Don't wait until someone's burning up in the middle of the night and you're guessing. Pack a non-contact thermometer and stay in control when your environment isn't. The truth is, survival isn't about owning the most gear, it's about owning the right gear. When the lights go out, stores shut down, and normal life disappears, these simple tools become more valuable than gold. They're not fancy, they're not trending, but they work. And that's what matters. Every product on this list was picked for one reason. It gives you an edge when everything else fails. Whether it's lighting your way, protecting your hands, making food usable, or spotting illness early, these aren't backups. These are essentials. Too many people wait until the emergency is already happening to think about what they need, but by then it's too late. The shelves are empty, the prices are sky high, and the mistakes are already made. Don't be that person. Take 10 minutes, check your kit, add what's missing, because when a real crisis hits, there are no do-overs. And if you found even one product on this list you didn't think about, hit that like button. And if you're serious about building a setup that actually works when it counts, hit subscribe. No hype, no fear. Just real-world prep that works.